Hello, everyone. My name is Deepak, and I'm a tax code advisor. As all of you guys know, we are preparing for our Wealth Summit that is happening on November 10th, Sunday, 12-hour event, just same as every year. But we got to do something different. Can't do same as every year, right? We got to bring on new people, and this year we have Faraz with us. Faraz is with the Creative Wealth Management, and they provide all kind of services. But this time they're bringing to us a couple of special things that we have perhaps talked about in Wealth Summit in before, but maybe not so much in details. But this year, I think we're going to a couple of things that we are focusing on. Real estate going to be a big part of Wealth Summit this year. Interest rates are starting to come down. People were afraid that market going to go down um, and inflation will kill everyone and we will be in big recession, and there were a lot of pundits on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere telling how world is about to crash and we are done, and life is over for all practical purposes. But as we know, just like ever before in history, we cannot trust everything that we hear on Facebook and Instagram. And luckily, all of that stuff didn't happen. And as far as I'm concerned, what I'm seeing in the field is market is very robust. People are still investing. People still buying stocks. People still buying real estate. People still buying other assets. I'm here in Austin, Texas, and everywhere I go, there is a lot of construction going on. People are doing restaurants, people doing flex spaces, gas stations, um, apartment buildings, all kind of stuff. So market looks pretty good. Then the second part is obviously election. Depending upon how things go with the election, obviously tax policies will be changing. But Sanjeev and I have been working on preparing for that as well and making sure we have both type of slides ready for you guys. So depending upon which way the election goes, we can cut out the half the slides. So that's the plan for Wealth Summit. But Faraz Bhai is going to be with us at the Wealth Summit, and he's going to focus on oil and gas. So and he will also talk about some opportunity zone funds, and we'll get to that just in a second. But oil and gas, we talked about it, right? We're not talking about where you go to a gas station and you fill up your car tank. That's not the kind of investment we're talking about. We're talking about actually investing in wells and drilling and getting the gas out. There are a lot of benefits out of that from a tax perspective as well as from income perspective. So I want to have some interaction with Faraz today and kind of get to understand with Faraz, by first of all, these oil and gas kind of companies. Now, we're not talking about like Chevron or some other local gas company that most people are familiar with, correct?
Yeah, so thank you for having me, Deepak and Sanjeev. It's a pleasure talking to your friends and colleagues and people of interest in the Well Summit. The oil and gas drilling that we're talking about are independent, privately held oil and gas drilling companies that do drill for like the big oil guys like Chevron, Exxon, and others, but they are independent companies. They are drilling for oil in most of the oil drills are in the Permian Basin in Texas. Most of the gas is in the western Pennsylvania area where shale gas is taken out. And these are privately held businesses, family owned businesses. The firms that we invest with are 40 plus years old, family run business where family is putting $100 million of their own money every year, getting a fund from individual investors and going and drilling for oil and gas. And Deepak, another thing to highlight, this is not speculative oil drilling, because we've heard a lot about, hey, oil and gas is risky. Of course it's risky, but it's more risky on the speculative oil and gas where you're going for drilling in on land hoping that you'll find gas or oil. But we are investing with managers where there's already oil and gas found in that land, and we are helping large manufacturers or large oil and gas companies to help them drill through our drilling funds.
So, and how big are these companies? Just to kind of get an idea, are they, when you say family-owned businesses? I mean, you already gave us a number, $100 million. That's still fairly big size family-owned
Yeah,
businesses.
So these are not mom and pop family owned businesses. These are family offices. Basically, the let's say for the U.S. Energy Oil and Gas Company out of Texas, the family is worth billions of dollars, and they've been doing drilling oil in the Permian Basin for a little over 40 years, 44 years to be exact. So over the course of years, they have access to land in which they are drilling. They know there's proven reserves of oil. So what they'll do is they'll start a fund, put 100 million of their own money in the fund, raise 200 to 300 million dollars from investors, and then go ahead and start the drilling process on that land, which helps us all get few benefits. Number one, the biggest benefit of investing in oil and gas drilling is tax savings for the year you've invested. So for every $100,000, for those of you who live in California, if you invest $100,000, you should expect to get anywhere between thirty to $40,000 of tax savings per year on $100,000. Second advantage of
And Faraz, let me just stop you there for a second. When you say per year, I think what you meant to say is for the year you invest. So
yes,
providing you're investing every year, correct?
correct,
Okay, just
exactly.
yeah, it's
Thanks,
not like
Deepak. Thank
it's not like you invest one time and every year you're getting 30, 40.
Yeah,
Not that
absolutely.
lucrative.
No, yeah, agreed. Absolutely true. The year, so we in 2024, you invest $100,000 in oil and gas drilling in 2024 based on the independent drilling contracts, IDCs, on which you get tax savings. You will get for the 2024 tax year anywhere between 30 to $40,000 of tax saving, depending on your tax bracket, depending on which state you live in. And it'll own the tax, that tax benefit is only on year one, which Deepak is. Thanks, Deepak,
A-
for
And
correcting.
I want to clarify this video again. You're using 30 to 40% in a dollar value, right?
US
That's
dollar. Yeah.
right. That's what you're saying. The
Yes.
actual, so if so, just for clarification, let's say you put $100,000 into a such company, these tax benefits are coming from some sort of depreciation, whether it's for tangible or intangible assets of that particular company. What Faraz Bhai is doing is making it a little bit easier for you, and he's already doing all the calculation in his head because he's been doing it for so long, and he's coming up with that dollar amount that, hey, look, from experience, I can tell you, don't worry about the math. If you put $100,000, about 30 to 40% of that will immediately come back to you as a tax saving. So think of it this way: instead of spending $100,000, you're really more like putting $60,000. That's what you're really trying to say.
I agree. Net, you end up putting $60,000. So instead
Yeah.
of giving that 40,000 to Uncle Sam, you basically keeping that $40,000 for yourself, and hopefully you're investing that dollar wisely.
So
So the
now people are wondering. So I didn't save anything. In matter of fact, I pay more. So why should I do oil and gas?
So you didn't pay the tax in 2024, but you'll pay this $40,000 if you do not invest in oil and gas. You'll pay that $40,000 in 2025 for the year 2024.
Right. It's money lost.
Yes, it's money lost, and that 40,000 goes to Uncle Sam. You don't see it. I
Right.
much rather do an investment which is going to give you a return plus do some tax savings, so I can then reinvest that 40,000 that I was going to pay to Uncle Sam. So the first benefit is tax saving for the year you invest. The second benefit of oil and gas is you starting year two, which is 2025, you will start getting a healthy income distribution. So, on a average, in starting maybe April to June of 2025, we expect we expect clients to start getting income distribution, such that in the first 6 years of investment, you should get 100% of your money back as income distribution.
Now, Faraz Bhai, again, so me and Sanjeev do tax consultation all day long. And sometimes we get very happy clients. They have a good income problem they're trying to solve. And that's a good problem. We love those clients. But then every now and then we also have clients who are like, oh, I invested in oil and gas, and yeah, I got some tax benefit, but I lost the money. Now, you said earlier that this is not speculative. This is you can, when you work with clients, you can show historic performance that this is how they've been doing, especially the family companies, because obviously they've been doing for year after year after year. So, and I won't hold you to it, but just curious, if a client is looking to do something like that, in your past history with working with these companies, how often do you see people actually losing out on that initial investment, although they got the tax benefit of it anyways?
So in the last, let's keep short term right now, and then we can go long term. In the
Okay.
last 5 years, the average annualized return in an average annualized income distribution per year has been close to 18-20%.
Oh,
Okay.
annualized. Wow. Oh, well, I guess because gas prices are coming back, maybe that's
So we talked about benefit. One is taxes for the year. Two is income distribution. Third is diversification of your investment. So
sure.
sticking to the second field, which is income distribution, there are few variables which define the income distribution of your in oil and gas investment, which is number one. The biggest reason to define is the price of oil and gas. Oil and gas in the last 5 years has been on an average between $60 and $70, although it's gone up to $80. But in the last 5 years, oil and gas has been between $60 to $70. If for the next 5 years, if oil stays at $60 to $70 a barrel, you are looking at receiving all your money back potentially in 5 to 6 years. Historically, that's what they've done in the last 5 to 6 years. In the last 5 years, you've gotten all your money back in 5 years. In a span of 12 years for an oil drill usually lasts 10 to 15 years. So let's say 12 years as an average and median. You should expect to get 150 to 200% of money back in income distribution.
And that's in within the first 5 years, you're saying, right?
That is no. So 150 to 200% is in the 12 years of the life of a drill.
Okay.
So a life of a oil fund should last you 12 years, and you should expect to get 150 or up to 200% of your money back. So if you invest $100,000 in oil and gas in 2024, in the next 12 years, you should get 150 to $200,000 back to you as income distribution plus the first year tax saving that you did.
Yeah. And in addition to that, even the income is partially tax free as well. So
Absolutely.
that's
Deepak,
another con.
as you are very astute in notifying this, the first 30% of the income is tax exempt.
So
It's
look
not
at that.
tax deductible or tax deferred tax. It's tax exempt. First 30% is tax exempt, and then 70% is taxable. So, in order to avoid that 70% taxable, what a lot of our clients do, and most oil and gas investors do, is they invest some money every year in oil and gas. So even that 70% becomes tax free for you. So if you do it for 5 years, you one have built out a very healthy income stream tax free.
And
And
is there like a minimum amount people have to kind of
yeah, the
start with?
minimum is $50,000.
Okay.
So that's the minimum that you invest. And because we have a very good relationship with all of these managers, they give us preferential treatment to many of our clients. So 50,000 is the minimum investment, and there's a lot of income and tax benefit, and those are the two reasons why clients invest in it. We have invested oil and gas as portion of our clients retirement income coming from oil and gas. Again, you don't want to have a large retirement income coming from oil and gas, but a small portion of your retirement income can also come from oil and gas.
Now, Faraz Bhai obviously will be talking at the Wealth Summit, and he will explain this in a better uh, detail. I mean, I think he did a pretty good job, but I'm pretty sure he's going to have some fancy slides and show you real math as to how it can impact you. But I know all of you guys are probably working. This sounds good in theory, but what does it mean to me? So, for all of you guys, I would strongly recommend that you take a look at your tax return and figure out how much in taxes did you pay last year. I think that will be a critical number because Faraz Bhai will obviously talk about this, but we're going to be talking about so many other options. We're going to be talking about real estate. We'll be talking about some other tax strategies, and you need to kind of see which one you're going to implement. When you come to Wealth Summit, you don't need to go act on everything every year, but if you can just take one nugget and implement it that year, I think that's more than enough. It's not like you're paying a whole lot of money to come to the Wealth Summit anyway. In matter of fact, Faraz bhai, you were at a conference this weekend, right? You were
Yes.
saying like, how long was it?
So it was a 3-day conference in Beverly Hills, and the Beverly Hilton case organized the conference, and some of the largest managers of the world were there. Apollo, Carlyle Group, BlackRock, Blackstone, um, uh, Ares, Vista, Millennium Hedge Fund.
Okay,
So
what
good.
I was going to ask you, Faraz bhai, is how much was the entry ticket to that conference? How much did you pay to go there, or was that included because of your some membership?
Yeah, it was because we're an RIA and we're an investor with Case, and we invest so much money of our clients' money with those. So we definitely got a discount.
Okay, but typically, let's say somebody else, how much would they pay to
I'll
go?
give you a sense. I am an advisor on Schwab's platform. If I
Okay,
want to go to Schwab's Impact conference, which is in San Francisco in November, I'm going to end up paying close to $2,200 to go to an Impact conference.
okay. The reason why I asked that question to you is Faraz Bhai will be available at Wealth Summit whole day long from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 12 hours. You can come up there and ask him anything about, and that's just one event he goes to. He probably goes to like, I don't know, hundreds of those events and so much information, so much knowledge in his head. And you can just come there and ask him all those questions without having to pay that $2,200 price tag. That's the beauty of it. In addition to Faraz Bhai, we'll have an estate planning attorney, corporate attorney, we'll have real estate professionals, mortgage professionals. Obviously, I will be there, Sanjeev will be there, our entire team going to be there. I just wanted to put in perspective that how much of a knowledge you get by coming to Wealth Summit. I mean, and Faraz bhai, what I'm going to do is I want to talk to you about opportunity zone funds, but let's do a separate video on that because I think a lot of people are going to be super excited about oil and gas this year. And I want to make it easy for people to just focus on oil and gas and share it with their friends, family members. So they also come to the Wealth Summit. Before I wrap it up, anything else you want to add about oil and gas?
No, I think the best way to learn about oil and gas is to come to the Wealth Summit. Sanjeev and Deepak do a fabulous job in organizing these events for you to benefit you. If what we've talked here has made any sense to you, I think the least you should do is show up at the seminar. If you don't like my presentation on oil and gas, I can assure you you'll find 10 other great ideas to hear from Deepak, Sanjeev, and the entire team and the presenters at the Well Summit. So take the time, invest in yourself, invest in your benefit, and join the Well Summit with Deepak and Sanjeev.
Yeah, and I can tell you, just in our 20-minute conversation, Faraz, I learned a few things. For example, my understanding was roughly about 15% of the income is tax exempt, but you're saying now it's 30%. So
Close to
that's
30%.
close to 30%. So that itself is a big benefit. Similarly, you were talking about so many of these family-owned oil companies, because like I said, I was a little afraid to go oil and gas route because so many of horror stories out there. But
Yeah.
see, this is the benefit of like you can probably go Google and find tons of people doing oil and gas, right? But what you would not find is someone like Faraz who've been in this business for a long time and he knows which companies have in history. You go to their website, everybody going to say, oh, I've been doing it for this long, you know. But how are you going to find out is how often they have been successful. Nobody's going to tell you the horror stories, and that's why Faraz Bhai going to be an excellent resource to be able to kind of drill down and find the right company. And just to kind of give an idea, Faraz Bhai, how many of these such good companies do you work with in oil and gas field?
Yeah, so we this year invested with three oil and gas companies.
Okay.
And to give you a sense, we've done due diligence on at least 30 of those companies. And among those 30, we've picked three to choose to invest. And one of the caveats of choosing three out of 30 is the fact that the top ranked privately held oil and gas companies, our three companies are in the top five.
Yeah.
So among
So
the top five, we're investing in three companies.
So think about it. Let's say if I was an average person and I was thinking about doing oil and gas, what Faraz Bhai has just told us that I have a 90% chances of making a mistake, going with somebody doing something wrong. So our goal is to help you avoid that mistake. So Faraz Bhai, thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. I think people are going to find it very, very helpful, and I'm sure people will be looking forward to seeing you at the Wealth Summit. And if you don't mind, maybe we can put something on calendar next week and let's talk about the opportunity zones as well. I think a lot of people have uh, capital gain problems. They have like, major stocks or some real estate transaction. I think that can still help them. So let's talk about some of those. Who knows? You might have some surprises for us, just like you had some in oil and gas as well.
Thank you so much.
All right, Praz, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.